Welcome to the Haymaker MMA show with your hosts, Tanai Shah and Ian Wall.
UFC 262, Oliveira, Michael Chandler. We got El Kakui, Tony Ferguson in the co-main event against Beneil Dariush. Unfortunate that the two of the fights that I was most excited for with the Jack Hermansson, Edmund Shabazian, and the Edwards-Nate Diaz fight fell off the card. To be honest, without those two, and outside of a couple fights on the main card, I think it's, as far as pay-per-views go, a little bit lacking. Maybe we're spoiled after the last one with the triple belt.
Pay-per-view plus live audience. They promise you Nate Diaz, and then you get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So
They take it. Obviously, Jack Hermansson, my friend now.
yeah, right. Your new buddy Jack Hermansson. I've always been a Jack fan. So again, even more with your couple interactions with him, even more of a reason for me to back him going into all this shit. But yeah, without his star power and Edwards and Nate Diaz's title implications and star power, I think this one falls a little bit short. But we'll trudge on. Not gonna cry over spilled milk here. First one, we'll go over a featured prelim here with Jacare Souza getting on in age, 41 years old, against Andre Frankie Muniz, who's a Brazilian who doesn't have the biggest name, but I think he's a pretty darn good fighter. Has racked up a couple of decent wins here. Jacare is definitely going to be his biggest test, but he's 31, definitely got less miles on the clock. Jacare has definitely been fighting some more game opponents recently. So Jacare's last three losses: Kevin Holland, Jan Blachowicz, the champion now, and the aforementioned Jack Hermansson, who we were just talking about, who's a beast in his own right. And a young. What's that?
Who's also my friend.
Also your new buddy, right? Can't leave that out now. And kind of like in this fight is a younger, hungry guy. Souza's always a dangerous dude in any fight he's in, whether he's 41, 52. That fight hits the ground, he's always a submission threat. He kind of has that old man strength. That you can and shines through on the feet sometimes. You can go back to the Chris Weidman fight. He doesn't have the best chin, but KOs him stiff in that third round. And then Frankie Muniz here with not the same names, like I said, but some impressive performances. First round rear naked choke, showed some good wrestling and intensity on the ground and hunts for some submissions. And then the Bartosz Fabinski is a kind of a UFC vet, isn't always consistent, but is a dangerous guy, and Frankie Muniz armbarred him in round one. So needless to say, I'm going Frankie Muniz in this one over Jacare, getting a little older in age, not as many avenues to win, and Muniz showing he's got enough grappling and ground game to hopefully not get submitted by Jacare, even though it's not a foregone conclusion for anyone, and enough power and hungriness on the feet to hopefully overwhelm Jacare in the later rounds or as the fight goes on. How do you see this one?
Yeah, so we look at the line just to let everyone know, minus 110 each side. So that's how even everyone thinks it is, and that's how even I think it is as well. Like you said, Muniz hasn't really fought any recognizable names besides a couple. Jacare's fought fucking everybody at 185 and beat most of them until more recently. Talk about the Kevin Holland knockout. Great job by Kevin, obviously, but Jacare, I just felt like fell asleep in the octagon. He was just like, I think he was just like listening to him talking. He's like, what the fuck is happening? And boom, right hand.
Confused?
Yeah, he's like, dude, what is happening here? Because he was so inactive from the top, and we've seen Kevin Holland struggle when people just lie on him and just stay a little active. Like with Marvin and Derek Brunson.
Right. The fact that you're right. The fact that he got up is like maybe shows some lacking in the pressure from top. Yeah, you might be right.
Exactly. Like, and he took him down pretty easy, but he just like didn't stay busy, which is unusual for him. So Muniz, obviously the young guy, similar style, a lot of submissions for both of them. I hope they don't stay on their feet too long. I think Jacare is a little better, but who knows? Muniz is a young guy. He probably has some nice hands too. Because the younger guys are more developed, like everywhere skill wise, compared to the older guys. They're not.
He's not too young, but in
like,
comparison to Jacare,
31.
Yeah.
So he's like almost prime now, 31 years old.
You're
But
right.
the young guys are always more well-rounded than just one superior skill, even though they excel at one thing. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just like Jacare. I think it was an unusual knockout against Kevin Holland. It was horrible, but it was very unusual. And then you said Hermanson Blachowicz, and then he beat Weidman, lost to Kelvin Gastelum. Beat Derek Brunson. So he just fought these killers back to back to back to back. And I think after those few months off after Kevin Holland, I think he's good to go. Andre Muniz, I think he's going to struggle just a little bit with like positioning and stuff. I think Jacare dominates. I would love to say fight to end in submission, but they also know how to defend submissions. You know what I mean? They know how to attack using them, but also defend using them. But I do like Jacare in this one. Also, I'll say this card has a lot of like close lines and close fights, so it's going to be hard for me at least to pick a definite winner. But if I had to pick for this one, I'd go Jacare. Up next, we got a banger at 145. We got Edson Barbosa, a former top 5, top 10 lightweight who's fought his last 2 fights at 145 featherweight, taking on Shane Burgos. Wild man, loves to bang, has a solid chin, but he's also really good at striking. But Barbosa is also known for his striking as well. Barbosa obviously more experienced in the UFC octagon. A lot of finishes by Edson Barbosa. Shane Burgos has more submissions, but he's less experienced in the octagon, like I said. What else? I think this fight has the potential to be fight of the night.
For sure. I think it's slated as probably most likely to be.
Unless no one gets caught early, which I don't think, because I think Burgos is not going to catch Barbosa early. I just don't think it's going to happen. He's not as good as Gaethje and them. And second, I think Barbosa will win the early rounds. Once he slows down, maybe he can get caught. But Shane Burgos has a solid chin, and he's not going down early. That's my assessment of it. For the line, we got Burgos minus 135, Barbosa plus 115. Damn, dude, definitely, I would take Edson Barbosa has a better chance of winning, in my opinion, and the line doesn't support that, but I like that actually.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm all over fucking Edson Barbosa on this one. You know, he's been an ATT product his whole career. The Dan Ige fight was super close. I think if Dan Ige doesn't get the takedown in the last minute,
I thought Barbosa won one.
I did too. Shane Burgos, he gets hit. Going back to the Josh Emmett fight, I think his striking defense is not as good or on par, especially with like the crisp striking of Edson Barbosa. I think it's a good analysis that Barbosa will win the first 2 rounds. It might be a shakier third, or Burgos will have absorbed enough damage by then that it won't be a shaky third. But I like the crisp striking of Edson Barbosa. You know, even though he's racked up, he's 1-3 in his last 4. I think he's showed great performances with all of them. He's bounced back. He hasn't really been gun shy per se. He still throws his dangerous combinations and kicks. He's really fucking hard to take down. Like you said, Shane Burgos, I don't think is going to have any threat at all for any type of grappling or submissions. I don't think he plans on that at all. I think he's just a brawler with like a demon in him, because he's a beast. He is a beast. But I think just Edson Barbosa's experience and technical striking and body kicks. Everyone Burgos has fought so far has been a brawler or a strike or a boxer or a little bit or a wrestler. Fucking hasn't had to deal with any body kicks or leg kicks, and Edson Barbosa's got fucking fire in his shit. So,
yep, he does have fucking fire, dude. I was also gonna add that Barbosa, I was a little skeptical when he moved down from 55 to 45 because he was so jacked at 55 too.
Right.
But dude, he's showed a pretty smooth transition.
He's like
you said,
0% body fat.
Yeah, he's yoked, dude. He's
So
so
ripped.
cut. Yeah.
But yeah,
And,
I'm riding the underdog.
He looks fast. Yeah, I think he's just a better striker than Shane Burgos.
Barboza boys, let's do it. Next one up, we got the blonde fighter, Caitlin Chikagian. I think one of the best point fighters in the UFC. I think her and Wonderboy Thompson. I think Wonderboy is definitely more dangerous with all of his arsenal, but are just some of the most skilled point fighters at like keeping range and just trying to rally, tick the tax for the judges with strikes. Viviana Rujo, on the other hand, is has looked great in the UFC so far. Only has one loss to Jessica Ai, but the reoccurring pattern is a lot of her fights are against predominantly grapplers with not the best striking, and she has enough jiu-jitsu and grappling ability and credentials. I don't know if she's a black belt, but has, being a Brazilian at least, has enough jiu-jitsu and wrestling grappling shit to keep some of the women off her, and it has enough Muay Thai and striking and that Brazilian ferocity, dude. Some of these Brazilian women just have that fucking testosterone in them. But like I said previously, I think Caitlin Chikagian has been in there with some bangers, has learned her lessons with the Jessica Andrades of the world, and has looked really, really good in any point fighting scenario. I think Caitlin Chikagian has like 4 inches on her. I think is going to be able to keep distance. I'm looking at the Caitlin Chikagian by points or by decision here. Not a quarter unit or something. Not something I'm looking at crazily. But the odds are -142 Chikagian, +116 Rujo, and Chikagian by points is +105. So I'm looking at a little plus money for Chikagian by points. I just think she's going to be able to use the distance, use her jab, keep everything at range, not get taken down. Get a decision victory.
Yeah, that was a great assessment. Like Cynthia Calvillo, I think she's going to use the same strategy, Chikagian, that she did against Cynthia Calvillo. She's going to touch and move, few air strikes here and there. Happen. Yeah, and I don't think Araujo is gonna be able to take her down like that. She's not gonna be able to get in with that distance. There's a 5-inch height advantage towards Chikagian. Obviously, I'm guessing it's pretty similar on the arm length as well.
Actually, it's not. The reach isn't. They're like pretty even on reach.
Well, but Chikagian will still have the advantage when it comes to distance because of her height. But I think Araujo, I don't know, she hasn't been tested against the best Chikagian really has. Her hardest fight was Jessica Ai, and then Roxanne Modafferi's 50 point 50-50 record fighter as well. But Chikagian's fought Andrade, Valentina. She obviously lost to them too, but still she has experience with that. Antonina, who's really good. Cynthia Calvillo
beat Jennifer Maia, who just fought for the belt.
Jennifer Maia, she lost to Liz Carmouche and Jessica Ai, both split decisions.
Like 5 years ago too.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And she's only getting better. Like you said, that Wonder Boy thing. She can just outpoint people who aren't, and they make it look really easy against the not elite. Even though obviously everyone in the top 10 or top 15 of the women's flyweight or the men's welterweight are world class. They're the best in the world. But still, if they find that thing that I'm better than you at this power, they can do that. They can
keep
read
it there.
So much better. Yeah, they can read you so much better than you can read them, and just land and use their length and their stance. This is more Wonder Boy for the stance, but like Chikagian was a good comparison. Like she'll keep you away, but she'll keep touching you and she'll keep hurting you. So I like Caitlin Chikagian. Yeah, I think points is the best way to go, but if not, a -140, 142 line on Caitlin Chikagian isn't bad either.
Nope.
Araujo, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be tough. Like I don't know. She doesn't look like super strong. I'd give her the advantage if she was built like Jessica Andrade a little bit. Just walk through the power a little and then land her own and then probably keep her down for a little bit. But I just don't see that.
I don't see it either.
It's gonna be a decision. Kalen Chukagian, yeah, I pretty much agree with your assessment. At 135 pounds, we got bantamweight fight between Matt Schnell and Rogerio Bontorin. Bontorin obviously lost his last fight to Kai Kara France. That was just a wild round that ended with like a spinning elbow, and then Kara France just like runs and stuff, celebrating like an idiot. It was awesome to watch. It was really fun. Matt Schnell won his last fight against Tyson Nam, a split decision. That was a close fight for sure. I think 125 is like those were 125 fights. They're fighting at 135, maybe because it's more of a last minute thing. I'm guessing, but they're definitely contenders at 125, which is a really exciting division now, more than ever. But I feel like both of them, when they've come up against the elite, have fallen short a little bit. Like I said, Bontorin lost to Cara France, and then Ray Borg, both pretty well-known names, and then Schnell lost to Pantoja in 2019. They're both more wrestling submission guys, although they both can stand and strike as well. I don't know. I think Schnell's like the slight favorite. He's minus 160 to Bontorin's plus 135. Honestly, I'll tell you, I haven't watched them enough, I have watched them, but not enough. And I think it's too close from what I've looked at. It's really hard for me to call. Same style, similar size and stuff. Obviously, Matt Schnell's a little taller, but I think it's too close to call, dude. I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this one betting wise for sure. But I would lean Matt Schnell just as much as the odds makers are.
Yep.
I think Matt Schnell has proved a handful of times that he can be durable, but also dangerous at the same time. Engages in some brawls, which might swing Bontorin's way, but definitely has more experience, octagon experience. He trains at American Top Team, which I would argue is the best gym in the world. Maybe City Kickboxing might say they give him a run for their money. But just as far as keeping
elevation, dude, what are you talking about?
Interesting.
Trevor.
Yeah, I think probably best coach for sure. But as far as just the stable of fighters and the coaches and
the whole
just a great, probably we'll say top 3 places to be if you want to progress as a fighter in between fights. Matt Schnell's there and he's been there. Losses to out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 6-1 in his last 7. His only losses to Pantoja, who's a beast. I don't like the personality, but I'm a fan of his fights. Pantoja, Rob Font, who's one of the best boxers too, and this guy Hector Sandoval, who I'm not familiar with, but it was right after he got KO'd in the first round by Rob Font. When he loses in round 1. So I might do a little hedge Bontorin round 1, or Bontorin round 1 and 2, Matt Schnell round 3 or by decision. See what the odds are on that shit.
That's a good prop.
But I'm definitely staying away from this one. But I think Matt Schnell's experience and has come out on top in the brawls more often than not recently. I'll lean him, but look at those props.
Tony Ferguson fight week, man.
The El Cucuy fight week.
Yep.
I haven't seen too much bullshit on social media of just like wacky Tony Ferguson shit. Maybe I haven't been looking hard enough.
Like Khabib owes me 10 push-ups.
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah. I like what he says. I think it's really funny, like his catchphrases like McNuggets or Tiramisu Tuesday and shit.
Just all the emojis and shit.
Yeah.
Like
just like all the emojis.
It's just dude, chaotic energy you like to see.
It's like hard to read a paragraph like that though. With like just emojis flying out of nowhere, caps randomly.
And like none of them make sense. Like they don't seem like they're in the right places.
Like, but they are funny though.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, dropping, give me 10. It's fucking.
Yeah, that's literally. But that's Tony Ferguson for you. That's literally how he fights. That's how he acts. That's Tony Ferguson. Taking on the up and comer who's won 6 in a row now with 4 of them being finishes. Beneil Dariush, a real fan favorite, real soft-spoken, good guy, but an absolute beast in the octagon. Surprising amount of power in those hands. Very good.
Check out my Benil edit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep, that was good. Very good hands, as well as a very good submission guy, wrestling. He knows his positions really well. And then Tony, very unorthodox, good boxing and elbowing and push kicks
Chaos.
and stuff on the feet. Unreal submissions, jiu-jitsu black belt, I'm sure he is. Don't even have to check that. The Darce Knight, as he calls himself. So yeah, this is an absolute banger. Like, obviously we're missing Nate and Leon, but this is a solid co-main. It's not 5 rounds like the Nate and Leon was gonna be, which I think would have favored Tony Ferguson a little bit because he has a gas tank for days. Like, I was rewatching the Gaethje fight where Tony got beat up. Dude, Tony was putting the forward pressure, even though he was like literally passed out on his feet. He's still walking forward.
About to
like,
die, yeah.
Yeah, let's engage. Like, just hitting him and like just leg kicking him, tripping him, whatever. Just trying to engage. So he has stamina for days. Obviously, that's a known fact. Unfortunately, he lost his last one as well. So after going 12 fights undefeated at 155, arguably the hardest division in sports or in MMA, he goes and unfortunately loses to Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. Oliveira, obviously, in the main event, fighting for the belt off a Tony Ferguson win. Beneil Dariush, by far the toughest test of his career. He has had names like Ricardo Rose, Drew Dober, as well as Diego Ferreira last time, and then 2 of those were finishes. So good on him. He's given us some amazing moments as well, just like Tony. Tony's given us some bloody wars against Pettis, against Barbosa, Cowboy, you name it. But Beneil Dariush gave us the commentator highlight when DC and Rogan and Anik right before the Corona lockdown, when they all just started touching each other. Oh, like whatever. I'm sure you've seen that.
Oh, yeah, the meme.
So let's get down to the fight stuff. The line is at minus 170 Beneil Dariush, plus 145 Tony Ferguson. Honestly, I'm a little surprised to see that, but also I understand where they're coming from. Tony's taken a lot of damage in his career, and especially in the last 2 fights, he got beat up pretty bad. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I would just like I would think even money, or honestly Tony as the slight favorite is how I'd put it. Just because of his experience and he's had that winning streak, Dariush really hasn't fought the level of competition that Tony has. Tony's fought them and beaten them. But like I said, Dariush dangerous standing up as well as on the ground. This also has the potential to be fight of the night and is also a really hard one to call. And this is also Tony Ferguson's do or die fight, in my opinion. I think if he loses this one, and especially if it's a beatdown, I think they give him one more chance to get a win. Otherwise, he's like, it's so sad, but it's like kind of true. You know what I mean? 12-fight win streak, interim champ, didn't fight for the real belt once, had a couple bad losses. A third one, I think, would be really hard.
I'm on the same page with you. I love the Tony Ferguson entity. I love the person, the personality. But I'll compare him to Cowboy Cerrone, who's just a badass dude who's always in wars. And you know, with some other people, with Wonder Boy Thompson, you might not say 37, 38. That's not. You still maybe could squeak out another year or two. But with those two, it's a different style. It's a different. You're racing in different races, and
that's a good point.
And I think that those miles on the clock and that age and that wear on the body is catching up with them. Where the mind and the mentality is the same, but it's just fucking. You're beat down. Your shit's not working the same. And I will say, you go to the Kevin Lee fight was an awesome fight. But the Pettis and Cerrone fights, I'd say didn't necessarily age the best in the past couple of years. I'll click on Cerrone here after the Ferguson fight. So he had a great showing over Al Iaquinta, which I thought Al Iaquinta was going to win. I was confident.
Nah, Cerrone beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, I know. So it was Mike Perry, Alexander Hernandez, Al Iaquinta, which were three hungry, dangerous guys at the time. I think they were trying to fucking take that Cowboy out then, and Cowboy was like, "Fuck this."
Retired right then and there.
Right. So beats those three killers in a row. Then loses. Then he fights Tony Ferguson and loses. Loses to Gaethje, loses to Conor, loses to Pettis, loses to Alex Morono after that shit, right? So, after after Tony beats him, hasn't fucking done anything after that, right? And then Tony, on the other hand, after Tony beat him, Tony hasn't really performed or done anything after that. So whatever. The point I'm trying to make is, the last 4 fights of Tony Ferguson, in hindsight, haven't necessarily painted the best the best picture of the beast of Tony Ferguson. Beneil Dariush definitely hasn't fought the same level of experience, but especially in the last 6 fights. Thiago Moises has won a couple recently that he looked really impressive in. Drew Dober's a beast. Who the fuck he just fight?
He fought Islam.
Islam? Are you sure? Or was it?
He just lost to Islam.
Islam, you're right. Yeah.
Last fight was Islam.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Georgian from Sarah Longo. Why can't I think of his fucking name?
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. I don't think he fought.
It's like on the tip of my tongue. I can hear fucking Longo saying it.
Yeah, I can hear Sarah like screaming his name.
Merab Dvalishvili.
Merab.
I didn't even have to look it up.
Merab.
It just finally hit me. Shit.
Go, Merab.
And then Beneil Dariush, on the other hand, I think Ferguson definitely has fought better fighters, has better wins. But as far as trajectory goes, like we're saying, injured, beat up Tony Ferguson, looking like he's not as sharp as his own self. Not a knock on him, but just the natural progression of how things go. And then Beneil Dariush, not the youngest chicken out there, but 32, has been looking fucking awesome in his last couple of fights. 6-fight win streak. Thiago Moises has strung together a couple of good wins. Let me click on him real quick, see what he's done. Michael Johnson, Bobby Green, Alex Hernandez. Three great wins to have under your belt. Drew Dober has been a beast, always a dangerous kickboxing guy. Had three finishes before he got wrestle-fucked by Islam Makhachev after the loss to Beneil Dariush. That's an example of a win that aged well, right? Or against Haqparast, Alex Hernandez, that's like great, great things to string together. Frank Camacho, dangerous striker, not the best win. Drakkar, close fight. You got to see him overcome some adversity. You know he's going to be out there and fight for your money, and that's what I love the most about this play. And then Diego Ferreira, you saw him fight Gregor Gillespie, fucking dangerous on the feet. Didn't show the best gas tank, but
yeah, he missed weight too, Diego, against Gregor this past week.
Yep.
But he was definitely not in the best shape.
But yeah, and then gassed out, but you could tell is a dangerous guy, especially if he comes to fight and is all prepared for the night. So, I think Beneil Dariush has a good enough wrestling, hip game, jiu-jitsu defense game to not get caught in something funky by Tony Ferguson. If he does, it's because Beneil initiates a takedown and takes Tony Ferguson down. I don't know if that's part of the plan, but if he feels comfortable enough in the grappling to avoid those submissions and control him on the ground as Charlie Oliveira showed recently. But without all of this being said, I'm a big Beneil boy. Beneil. I hate to see it. I'd kind of like to see Tony win. But I'm gonna put like two and a half, maybe 2 units on Beneil Dariush, just straight money line to get this done for me.
Yeah, dude, I love and hate these fights because we love both the guys, and they're so different. Like Beneil is more quiet, gentle, but he's obviously a beast in the octagon. Tony, beast in the octagon, but absolutely wild in general. So like he's likable. His like character is so likable also.
Both likable on like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Opposite ends of the spectrum, absolutely. So yeah, I like love and hate these fights because it's gonna be a sick fight. Like probably fight of the night besides Shane Burgos and Edson Barbosa. It's close between these two.
Yep.
And it's such a good opportunity for a guy like Beneil to get up in the rankings. He'll be like 5th if he wins this one.
Yup, that'd be sick.
Tony's 5 right now, Connor's 6. Yeah, Beneil's going to be 5th. By far his toughest test. I'll tell you this, dude, what scares me for Tony. Tony doesn't have the heaviest hands. You know what I mean?
Yup.
His strike is very unorthodox. So it reminds me like of the Gaethje fight. Tony landed the best shot in that fight, technically. That uppercut. Connected flush at the end of round 2. Gaethje luckily saved by the bell. But once that power really starts connecting, Tony will still keep walking forward, but he'll get hurt for sure.
Right.
He'll slow down. So I think Beneil has the advantage there. And I don't know how much Tony's going to go for a takedown like a Khabib or a true wrestler like even Gregor Gillespie.
He doesn't really ever shoot takedowns. He just ends up on the ground.
He'll do the roll,
right,
and then do like go for a submission out of a lock or something. But I don't think he's gonna shoot for a takedown and do any of that stuff. So that's gonna be hard.
I think that's like a stat of his. I remember in the last time I was doing research that he's like shot like 2 takedowns or something.
Yep.
And and we know him as such a good submission guy.
If he finds it there, like he's comfortable, that's the whole point.
Right.
For the most part, besides the Charlie Olive's fight. Yeah, dude, I think Beneil's like gonna be too strong for him, honestly. Tony's looked weak recently. That's so weird to say that.
Yeah, it's so weird to say.
Yeah, like imagine saying that about fucking Tony.
Let me look at their frame stats. Tony's gonna have a 4-inch reach here.
Yeah, that definitely helps. Makes up for the lack of power a little bit.
Yeah, but I would even give Beneil the point fighting advantage there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Beneil. I need him to come through in a big way this weekend.
Honestly, I don't know, dude, who I'm gonna pick for this one either. It's just so hard. Gun to the head. Beneil Dariush.
Yeah, you got it. Gun to the head. If you pick fucking Tony Ferguson, you're getting shot in the head. That's how that one plays out.
But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I love him. I want to pick him. I want to be able to say I picked Tony Ferguson with the gun to my head. Because he's the guy. But 2 years ago, Tony Ferguson's my guy with the gun to the head. But not anymore. Sorry, Tony.
He was gun to the head against Gaethje. That didn't work out too well.
Right. True.
Unfortunately for either of us.
Yep. Now in the fucking main event of the evening, Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. Dude, have you seen his fucking horse race and shit?
I haven't seen his horse race. I saw like the embedded where he was just like taking care of them. Like
he
was
does
just
like a special kind of like chariot racing.
Yeah. I got that.
But shit.
That looked sick. Super scary though.
Yo. And then in the other corner, we have Michael. Does he have a fucking nickname? Iron Michael Chandler. Shit. Again, this is one. I'll go into more detail with it, but where all my logic in the research and all the logic points to Charles Oliveira by Massacre, but I just had this weird Michael Chandler's gonna spoil the UFC party feeling in my fucking stomach, dude, that he's gonna crush somebody. But
I kind of do too, because for me especially, I was riding very high on Dan Hooker when they fought. I was like, Hooker got the reach. Hooker is so good.
Hooker.
Chandler comes out hot and starches him round 1.
And dude, you see the way he set it up? I watched a video on how he fucking set it up.
Yes.
He threw like 5, just right hand to the body while Hooker kept circling left, and then he fucking threw the one to the body, and then came up with the left hook, and it was like he wasn't ready for it. Like
here's what he was doing. He was going left, right. He was going 1-2, 1-2, and then body, and then 2-1 with the lefty clock. Yeah.
But yeah, I just got this weird feeling in my balls that fucking Michael Chandler's gonna upset the UFC party here. But if I have to give betting advice or analysis advice, watching the recent Charles Oliveira fights, man, that dude is fucking impressive. There's a reason he has the submission record in the UFC. Has acquired some losses, but to some beasts. You look at like Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson back in the day in 2012, Donald Cerrone in 2011 in his prime. Paulie Felder
in 2011.
Isn't that crazy to think about? Paulie Felder in 2017, which I would say is Paulie's kind of prime.
He was
So,
losing a lot when he was fighting at 145 because that weight cut would suck the life out of him.
interesting. Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yep. So Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson, Jim Miller, 145 or 55, I'm not sure, but all those guys were 145 that he
And
lost.
we're beasts. And we're
And they're
like
pretty
fucking.
elite. Yeah, they're pretty fucking elite.
Damn, he fought Cerrone at 155. Yeah, so, Oliveira has like such a good wrestling game, dude. You can see it with Tony, who's a great defensive wrestler. Kevin Lee, his work with Kevin Lee, avoiding takedowns, getting his own takedowns. I think his grappling game is so so underrated. Maybe not even underrated, because anyone who actually ask or knows is like, yeah, dude, he's a sick grappler. But like, you don't even necessarily think about his wrestling as being good. But I think his wrestling is very good. Obviously, holding the record for submissions in the UFC. Sometimes you can have a black belt in jiu-jitsu and you only get a couple of submissions in the UFC, and somebody can be a blue belt but just has like a sick MMA jiu-jitsu or submission game.
What's his name? At 145. Doug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell.
Mitchell, right?
Beat the crap out of a black belt.
Yep.
Like last year.
And just that there's a difference, I guess, that MMA jiu-jitsu and Charles Oliveira seemed to have found a way, maybe not even the MMA jiu-jitsu, but just MMA submissions, like just finds a way to get the subs. But Michael Chandler, let me see, I wonder if he's ever been submitted.
Submitted?
He hasn't.
Yeah.
So, doesn't have too many losses on his record to even look at, but never been submitted, so something to look at with that. Charles Oliveira showed some great striking also. You look at some of his fucking fights, dude. Jared Gordon, first round TKO.
Oh, yeah. Hands.
So just sick striking. Didn't even, when he's in striking mode, you wouldn't expect him to be good at all on the ground, because he just has great combinations. He's creative, he's crisp, he throws everything straight. In the Ferguson fight, all their striking exchanges, she looks great in the striking. He won them handily.
Yep.
And then all the powerful fucking takedowns, looking so heavy on top, just controlling and doing damage. To go against Chandler's kind of just explosive, not the most technical striking, and explosive wrestling, but not the best jiu-jitsu. And to go with it, seems like a matchup that is definitely going to suit Charles Oliveira. My analyst in me says Charles Oliveira big time, but I got that tingle into my balls that Michael Chandler's going to upset the apple cart.
So Charles Oliveira, what Michael Chandler lacks in skill, he makes up easily in power and pressure. Dude, that fucker is so strong. If you just look at him, he's so strong.
Yeah, he's like that fire hydrant build.
He's legit so strong. He's only 5'8", making 155. But he's so strong. Like, look what he did to Dan Hooker. Dustin Poirier doesn't do that to Dan Hooker. Maybe he had taken that damage from the Poirier fight, and that's why it was a little. Chin might have been a little not the best, but dude, Chandler popped him. And Chandler is known to start so hot, like he did against Hooker. Like, look at his Bellator fights: round one, 5-1, 3-5-1, and most of those are like championship high class guys at Bellator. So yeah, I think Chandler could put Oliveira's lights out early, but if it goes a little later, Oliveira has the advantage. But here's what I'd say also: Oliveira, he's won 8 in a row, 7 finishes, and most of them are pretty early, 1 or 2.
Yep, that's the only bet I've made is under 2.5 rounds.
Yeah, I'd take the under as well.
And I think it's only like minus 140 also. So I hammered I think 2.5 units on that one.
Yep, I like the under as well. So we got Oliveira minus 130 and Chandler plus 110. Dude, this is such a hard one to call too, just because I'll tell you, I haven't seen the most of Michael Chandler. I have seen a few of his Bellator fights and obviously the Hooker fight. He seems really like a super like hardworking motherfucker, very strong at all times. Elite college wrestler, can strike, got the power as we know. Then Charles Oliveira, dude, he's just did that to like Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson. That's just a few names out of like all the others that he's finished. And so here's the thing: when we talked about the Ferguson Oliveira fight, I think I picked Tony Ferguson for sure, but I picked him because I thought Oliveira is going to be too skinny and too small for Tony Ferguson, who's an actual 155er, compared to Charles Oliveira, who's coming from 145, even though it was a long time ago. But Oliveira looked like
He's
very
a big boy.
Yep. Yeah, he's 5'10", so he'll have that size and reach advantage over Chandler. And the way he was like slamming him, bro, like I was just so unbelievable to watch that he's grown so much, and I think he's still improving. Like his hands got better in that fight. You see submission, and then those 2 knockouts of Nick Lentz and Jared Gordon that you talked about. Hands are getting better every fight, I think, dude. Gun to the head. Let's make a pick. Finally, let's get to the pick. Yeah.
My logic tells you Charlie Oliveira. I'm staying strong. I'm not thinking with my impulses here. I'm going Charles Oliveira money line.
Yep. Same. I like to lean towards logic more than gut, even though like that Chandler bomb like scares me a little bit. But also, this is not our best bet. Let's just make it clear. Our best bet was under rounds. Whatever you're getting, 2.5 probably.
Yep, 2.5. Under 2.5 is what I was getting, and I'm hammering that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the bet for this card. And then hopefully just a banger and we can enjoy the outcome.
Yeah, exactly.